What is going on, everybody? Back for another week, back and better than ever. Joshua Cook along with Greg Cranfill here on the St. Pius 10 Football with Greg Cranfill show every Wednesday on the VYPE Media Network at noon. And I went to the St. Pius 10 football game this past week against St. Thomas, 49-21 loss for the Panthers, but we'll get to that in a second. But, Coach, I was walking around during the game, and I didn't realize how big this show was. I didn't know I didn't realize how many viewers. I was starting to think over the weekend. I was like, man, we should make some T-shirts or hats or something here and really pump this thing up. But I'm really glad people are enjoying the show as much as what we're putting into it. And they say they look forward to it every Wednesday. So for all you return watchers, thanks for tuning in every Wednesday. But back to other things such as football, since that's what we talk about every week. 49-21 loss to St. Thomas last week. The game, I was there for the game and started out, 7-0 for your guys. Really a hard-fought battle in the first couple quarters, 14-14. The second quarter, that's when St. Thomas kind of jumped out to that 28-14 lead and eventually went on to win the game. But talk about just that beginning of the game. I mean, your guys were hyped. They were out there hitting hard. I mean, they were doing everything, and they were really pushing St. Thomas there for the first few quarters.
Absolutely. It was a matter of just executing the game plan early, and we knew going out that late in the second quarter, we were going to have to just hold the rope as hard and hang on as much as we could, because we knew that we had probably four guys that were playing significant roles both offensively and defensively, and with an up-tempo offense like St. Thomas has, and they're just as good on defense as they are on offense, that it was going to be a tough time for us, and it proved to be just that. Hats off to all of our kids for standing in there and fighting. But that's a good football team that we played on Friday night.
We've talked about through the season, unfortunately, as the season goes, you're going to lose some guys to injury here and there. And in the running back position, Nathaniel Lulu has stepped in, and this is the first time I got to see him in person. And Coach, he's a shifty little back. Once he gets in some space, he can go, because he had the first rushing touchdown of the game for your team.
Absolutely. He brings a little spark to us. There are things as a young sophomore that we would like him to progress through his game. A lot of what we do, AKA protecting Carson Rodgers when we're passing the ball, some things that we can improve on, but he's got a heck of a game, I guess, for lack of better words, and is able to bring a different aspect to the table, and we're very happy with his progress.
And I mean, he's got an amazing name, right? I mean,
exactly.
You can't ask for a better name. And the thing I liked about him in the short amount that I saw him is it seems like, even though he's a young guy, he seems to be a patient runner. Like, he kind of waits for that hole to open, but once it opens, it's like, green flag at Daytona, let's go, and hit the gasser right through the middle.
Right, and absolutely. And that's one of the things that we talk about. There is some credit in the fact of patience through running. And then there's a point that we often talk to him about: when it looks bad, just stick your nose in there and go get 1 or 2 yards. It doesn't always have to be a big run, especially in our style of offense. It's just, we hope that the constant power attack will wear off. And that's what we try to tell him. 2 and 3 yard runs in the first quarter turn to 6 and 7 yard runs in the second quarter, which turn into big runs late in the game. But we've got to be able to continually pound the football there. And with the way that we're throwing football with Carson at the helm, it gives us quite a bit of balance.
You mentioned Carson Rodgers. He's your Chick-fil-A Offensive Player of the Week from last week, 20 of 35, 236 yards and a touchdown. And he looked good throwing the ball. And he's got some arm strength there. The one play that I was disappointed, because I was there shooting highlights, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
The one play I got disappointed about when I saw the flags on the ground was the deep ball. I think it was to Ricky down the sideline.
It was.
And they had called pass interference against Ricky. And I'm talking, Coach, I had a Sports Center angle of that one. I had the ball square coming in right into the arms, into the end zone, and I looked out, I see the flag, and I was like, oh, no. But to that point, great arm strength by Carson.
Oh, yeah.
He knows he has it because he's a pitcher for y'all's baseball team.
Absolutely. And the head to go with it. A lot of times quarterbacks, we talk about in the quarterback room that God has gifted you with multiple throws. soft over the top, the 3 ball, the 2 ball, the 2.5, the 1 ball, and having the ability to pull the trigger. But great quarterbacks know when to use each pass. And I think that's one of the things that he was already good, but he's gotten better as the year progresses, just knowing when to use each pass that he has and having the ability to do it, 20 of 35, I think he graded out at 90 plus this week, because some of those incompletions are great plays, in my opinion. Instead of trying to force a ball into a situation, or instead of trying to take a sack, Carson got that ability to just throw the ball up in the stands, and he has the green light in order to do that, because of the fact that we feel like one bad down doesn't mean a bad series for us. We often talk to him about playing golf and the fact you can hit a crappy drive and then even a bad second shot, but you can chip up there and make a putt and make par. And when, in order to move the chains, that's our mentality, is what do we have to do on first down and second down and third down in order to execute that chain movement. And he's got that ability, and we're very pleased with him.
Yeah, it seems with him, he's very good about his progressions and finding guys in situational football. Like when y'all need 4 yards, he finds the wide receiver that's cutting across at the 5 yard, and he'll hit him across the middle, get the first down, keep the chains moving.
Absolutely.
So we go to the defensive side, and surprise, surprise, for the second straight week, Carson Hintz is your defensive player of the week. Only 12 tackles this week. He had 17 last week. I mean, I got to give Carson a hard time. 9 of those solo, 3 assists, and 1 interception. And we'll go back to that interception in a second. But sure. Carson Hintz overall, back-to-back, 29 tackles over 2 weeks. You don't see that very often from a lot of guys.
And a lot of it has to do with the style of offenses that we're playing. A lot of what we do sets up that will linebacker to be successful. So when we put our defense together, one of the starting points was who's going to play that will linebacker. And unanimously in that defensive coaches meeting, Carson got the nod, and he's done nothing but be great for us each week. That's not to say he doesn't make mistakes, and he'll be the first to tell you that he does. But he's a football player and loves his football team. And I think it shows every snap of how committed he is to doing what he's supposed to do. And that's a compliment to him.
I mentioned the interception. The reason I wanted to go back to this because, Carson is the one that ends up with the interception, but it was because of Jeff Burbank putting his big paw up in the air and banging that ball out of the air that it ends up being the reason he was able to get that interception. Talk about when you watch that on film, what a job by Jeff Burbank. I went and watched him, and he's pushing and pushing, and all of a sudden he sees that Maddox Copp's about to throw the ball. All you do is get your arms up, and it worked out. And it ends up causing an interception.
Absolutely. And our defensive line coach, Brandon Dismal, does a great job in identifying different drops with quarterbacks. The difference between a 4-step drop and a 2-step drop, knowing that we're probably not going to get to the quarterback off of a 2-step drop, but we can disrupt what that quarterback or that offense is trying to do by getting our hands up in those situations. And I think that was a great example of a well-coached moment for our younger guys to see that this is exactly what coach is talking about when he's talking about a 2-step drop. The ball's set and loaded. Get your hands up and try to make a play. And that's exactly what Jack did. And on the backside, Carson was in the right spot at the right time, not by accident, but because that's where his drop has taught him to be. And like I said, those guys, when we do things right, we're a pretty good football team.
Yeah, and it's like you talk about this defensive lineman. You don't always have to go bull rushing in there and try to get a sack to disrupt a play. Just sometimes being in the face of a quarterback will disrupt a play. You look at the careers of J.J. Watt and Aaron Donald and those guys, what they do, just getting their presence back there makes a big difference.
Absolutely, and that's a credit to St. Thomas's quarterback and the fact that we disrupted a lot of plays with what we were doing schematically against them. But he had some poise and was able to make a lot of off-schedule throws, and same thing for him, just throwing the ball out of bounds instead of taking a loss. So a lot of credit goes to him as well. But I was proud of the effort that we gave up front to try to put some pressure on him.
So as we kind of wrap up about last week's game, what were your biggest takeaways from your guys and how they played in that game?
Yeah, I would say that last week was a tough week for us as a program, in the fact of going into a big rivalry game like we feel like that week is, and from Monday morning just feeling like we were behind the eight ball the whole week with some of the things that happened in our program. But yet the resiliency of the guys that remain, it was follow me, and get on my back, and I'll lead this team. And we had a bunch of guys that stood up during that moment. We talk about it all the time. I told them in pregame, the old adage that sports builds character. And any football coach or any player will ever tell you, any athlete will tell you, it doesn't build character, it reveals character. And when you have bad moments, in sports, or how about in life, when you have bad moments in life, it's how you respond to those moments that truly reveals who you are as a person. Because it would have been easy for a bunch of those guys in that locker room to feel sorry for themselves and to sad dog and talk about woe is me and all the bad things that have happened. But instead, it was we're going to fight. If we got one bullet left in our gun, we're going to aim and we're going to shoot. And that's kind of who these kids are. And that's what makes this program and this school so special, just to have people that are leaders for these men and women at this school that are constantly, sending that message to them and just watching them do exactly what their parents and what their family members are proud of them to do each week.
Y'all head into this week. San Antonio Christian is up next on the slate. Y'all sit at 3-3 on the year. San Antonio Christian coming off a loss to Concordia Lutheran last week. Talk about what do you see on film from them, and also what does your football team need to do this week to come out with a victory?
Yeah, I think I just did a practice schedule, and it goes back to fundamentals for us. It always starts at fundamentals, and then anytime you watch a video on Saturday morning and go, gosh darn it, we need to go back and just keep hitting those fundamental things, getting on blocks, getting off blocks, as opposed to taking yourself out of a play. And then offensively going back and then finishing. We had a bunch of guys that were in the right spot, but when you play great teams, they're going to do this. They're just going to get rid of you unless you're going to finish that block. So practice schedule wise, that's what we're going to reiterate. The same thing we do on every Monday is go back to those fundamental things. That's where it all starts, and that's where it ends for us, and the fact of us going out and doing what we're supposed to do. Up front, our offensive line and tight ends have been doing a great job. This week, we'll need them to do another great job in order for us to run the football and take care of Carson on the back end. Our receivers have been able to get open, and this week we're going to ask them to do exactly that same thing. So nothing special in the game plan. I wish I was creative enough to come up with something, a guru type of game plan, but it comes down to executing. And that's what we've done from day one, and preached to these guys that the only people that have stopped us has been us. And as long as we're focusing our attention on getting better as a team, then we've got a chance to win every Friday night.
Of course, St. Pius X taking on San Antonio Christian this week as they try to get back in the win column as they sit at 3-3 on the year. Well, Coach, would be remiss if we didn't include this in the show today. Of course, this airs on Wednesdays, but of course we record this every Monday morning if people didn't know. So there's the surprise reveal of that. But today is a special day, November 2nd. It is Brady Cranfill's birthday. Absolutely. It is Brady Cranfill's birthday. Happy birthday, Brady Cranfill, one of the future Panthers. Just talk about Brady. And I know, when we were at the photo shoot, there was a special moment where you and your wife and him were getting ready to take a picture, and Brady was getting up there. He was going to put the helmet on and everything, and then the team went nuts. I'm talking, they went crazy for Brady. They were chanting, they were cheering him on. It's giving me goosebumps thinking about now. What has this team and this program meant to Brady so far, being a part of St. Pius X?
Yeah. Before we talk about Brady, just know that November 1st is my dad's birthday.
Okay.
So in back-to-back birthdays, my dad's birthday is November 1st, and then Brady's birthday is November 2nd. I'm proud of Brady that he allows Big Milt to have at least one day before he goes back to talking about his birthday. But Brady's starting to see. He's getting to that age where he's starting to see what great character kids look like, and he's always been around those types of guys that go back to Will's point when you had the Caden Bennett's and the Tyler James and the Sloan Rodbergs, guys that he looked up to, and there's a bunch more at the places that we've been. But he's at that age now where he can start seeing these guys with great character, these Veritas men, and going, that's who I want to be. And every time I'm just like, yes, that's what every father wants to hear, is that the guys that he's pointing at going, Dad, I like that guy because he's always nice to me. It makes me happy that he can identify those types of kids, and you're exactly right. I mean, I can't say how happy I am enough to be around a bunch of great kids that open their arms to my son. I mean, Brady is a special kid to us, but he's just another kid to them. But yet they don't make him feel that way. They make him feel special. And that goes all the way up to our head of schools. Ms. Carmen Armistead is an amazing person. And if anybody that doesn't know that, they need to go introduce themselves, just where they have the privilege of being around someone that special. But she has that unique ability. Our high school principal, Rachel Ware, has that unique ability. And our AD, Jeff Feller, they all have that amazing ability to make you feel like you're the most special person in the world. And Brady does exactly that. I mean, he loves being around those people. Coach Mike Evans, Coach Claire Powers, and all the head coaches that are at St. Pius do that exactly. Not just to my kid, but to every kid. And that's an amazing, amazing feeling to be around people just like that. He's a special kid, and he's the only child, and he's spoiled rotten. But I keep telling my wife, so what? I'm going to get that boy what he wants. You know what I mean? I want him to appreciate the things that he's been given, and leave that up to my sisters AA and KK. They'll do that. They'll spoil him, but they're going to make sure that he appreciates it, and that's the good thing, that he's surrounded by such great people all the time.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. He's the birthday boy. Of course, this won't air until Wednesday. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what's the big? Is there a big surprise for him today, or what's the big present for Brady this year?
Well, I've been proud of him in the fact that the new PlayStation 5 comes out. So in my drawer in my room, there's a stash of his that when that thing finally releases, he's going to go purchase that. I told him if he'd come up with half, I'll pay the other half. And he's done that by earning that money. But just the fact of every present that boy gets, he's so appreciative of it. I'm glad he takes after his mother in that aspect, so, but like I said, so I'm just happy that I have the privilege of being dad to him.
Yeah, and for you, I mean, he's on the sideline. He's one of the ball boys for the team, running up and down the sideline. I mean, these have to be memories that in 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to look back and go, that was pretty special when he was running up and down the sideline. You'll probably remember when he walks actually out on the field for the first time playing football.
Absolutely.
He was running up and down the sideline with you.
Yep. And I think we'll all say this. I'm still lucky that he's in that phase in which he thinks his dad is kind of cool. I'm losing it. Once they become teenagers, then all of a sudden we don't become as cool, and we become silly and the dumbest people in the world. But I'm gonna take advantage of it while he still thinks that I'm kind of cool. And you're right. The other day I was jumping on somebody on the sidelines, and Brady just so happened to be standing by him. And when I turned around and said what I said to that kid, I saw Brady's face like, Dad, are you mad at me? And I was like, son, no, but it's a different world. And I'm glad that he's sitting over there, during those times, just watching those kids and how they respond to coaching, because it's important for us as young men becoming adults, to handle constructive criticism. And I've got this tone that he always talks about, and which is kind of scary. But as long as you know that tone is from love, and that comes back to the relationship aspect of it, the kids accept it, and then we move on. I told Carson the other day, Carson made a throw, and I said, Carson, I know you've thrown one incomplete pass the whole game. This was earlier in the year, but you're the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever had the ability to coach, and I'm gonna take advantage of it. We're gonna try to make you as good as you possibly can be. So one bad throw, I want there to be 0 bad throws. And he just kind of smiled at me like, I got you, coach, and that's fun, and the fact of that they're seeking greatness at everything that they do. And that's a proud moment. And it's not just Carson, it's every one of those guys, that want to be coached. I know I say that every week, but it's a good place to be, and these guys, they're after that affirmation of, coach, tell me if I did a good job. And I tell them all the time, I am loud. I'm loud in practice. I'm loud in the game, but do something correct and watch how loud I get. That's when I scream the most, just to tell you what an amazing job that you've done. And I think they appreciate that.
Well, it is definitely seen on the sideline. These guys are loud, proud, and they are ready to go out and fight for St. Pius X every single week. Well, Coach, we appreciate time as always. St. Pius X taking on San Antonio Christian this week. One more time, happy birthday, Brady Cranfill, here on the Greg Cranfill Coaches Show, as he gets to celebrate his birthday this week. It's just birthday week for him. So he'll get it today. He'll get it on Wednesday during the show, and I'm sure some more on Friday.
Correct. And as soon as we're done with birthday week, then the focus goes to, when's Christmas? How many days till Christmas? So
I think people start counting that down on November 1st. I think.
Oh, exactly.
I think they're like, okay, we're a month and a half away. Let's start counting it down. Trees are coming out. So
he knows when his mom starts watching all those Lifetime Christmas movies, and they listen to Christmas music the whole way to work every day, that it's right around the corner. So
we'll have a topic to talk about next week. We'll have Christmas movies and stuff, because we'll get into it. We'll get into it, but that'll do it for this week's episode. Because if we start talking Christmas movies, we'll be on here for another hour. So
oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck this week. And as always, remember, you can tune into the Greg Cranfill Show every single Wednesday here on the VYPE Media Network starting at noon.
Go Panthers.